Hey, I'm Fred.
And I'm Ed.
And this is Creator Generation.
Create a generation of hype.
All right, Federico, what is happening this week?
This week we're chatting with Alex from Alex's Corner.
I was thinking 10,000 subscribers is really big. And then I got to 10,000 and I was like, well, it's not that big because I'm 10,000 subscribers. It's like, well, 100,000 subscribers is big. And I got to 100 and I was like, it's not that big because but I never really thought of it as like a big thing because the sky is the limit.
Alex is a very talented animator and part of the collective of great animators and part of this rambling...
It's the animation mafia. That's what they like to call themselves.
Cool. Okay, we're going to chat to Alex about the animation mafia. And just remember, if you want to hear the full version of this interview, you can find them on any good podcast platform like Apple or Spotify. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Joining us on Creator Generation is Federico, but more importantly, Alex from Alex's Corner.
Hi,
Welcome.
glad to be here.
Hey, Alex, what's your channel about?
I basically just draw and animate about my life stories. And whenever I'm thinking of ideas, I would just go and relate it back to my childhood. And I feel like everyone has childhood stories that they can relate to. So I just illustrate that, make funny jokes and stuff. But yeah, for some reason, a lot of people, there's like an audience for that. So yeah.
Yeah. And you got a pretty big one too. You got a very engaged fan base with not just 500,000 subs, but super active in all the comments and all the engagement across the channel.
Thank you.
No, but how did you start? Where did it all start for you?
It all started with I think it was like the end of my first year in university, and I kind of wanted to get a part-time job. I was thinking wow, it's either, I use my time to work and save up money, or I use this time to improve on my skills, my animation skills, and kind of get myself out there. So as my YouTube is my portfolio as I go about my university career. And so I chose that.
Did you, when you were looking for these part-time jobs, did you tell your parents that part-time work I was looking for, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel instead?
They thought it was like a fad. I mean, they thought it was just for fun because I wasn't monetized. I wasn't earning any money. So it was I just kind of grinded on the work part, just animating. And so once it started to kick off, they're like, wait, you can make money out of this? This is so it's just a new concept to them. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't do it for money. you do it for passion and what you like to do and stuff.
Yeah, especially as an animator, obviously your content takes a lot longer to make than other people's content does. What's your process? How do you come up with a story, animate it, and how long does that all take?
30 days average. Ooh, a month. It's quite a long process. At first, when I first started, it took 2 weeks. My first ever video took 2 weeks, and I worked on it nonstop. And I was proud of the outcome. And then a lot of my friends supported it. But now I have to write my script, read my script again, and then write it again, edit again, and it's just record audio. Then after recording and editing audio, the longest part of the process is to animate it. And yeah, it's so tedious. Yeah, it's very tedious.
And how about the story part of it? Obviously you have a lot of its stories from as you grew up and, the various things that happened there. But how do you decide what stories do you want to tell and which ones you don't?
I actually don't know. I thought it's oh, this is interesting. Nail biting. Maybe people will, people don't know I'm a nail biter, and maybe someone out there can relate to nail biting in this coronavirus pandemic. But the ones that really popped up for me was my relationship stories, my breakup stories. That one really put really got recommended, like the 3-part series of my Rebound relationship series. And yeah, a lot of people related to it. A lot of people were commenting like, oh yeah, I've had similar experiences and thank you so much for raising awareness and this stuff and like that. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I guess everyone really liked me talking about relationships and yeah.
I'm going to chat a little bit more about your process because like every storytime animator is a little bit different. What do you think that you do differently to other storytime animators?
I think I stuck to the basics. I don't think of my animations like different from like Maz or Sultan. I think we're kind of just doing the same thing, but we have like a little twist to it, to our, style. Because I feel like my animations are a bit childish sort of category because I just talk about like magpies and random stuff. And I also wanted to put my take out there like with those type of mature topics. So I did an animation on like toxic relationships as well, but in my own like stories, of course. And with my relationship stories on my Rebound boyfriend series, that's also like me putting out awareness on like red flags in a relationship and what to do and what not to do, things like that. Yeah, that's my answer.
With the Storytime animation group, I mean, it's a very clicky group. Why do you think out of all the groups of creators, why do you think the Storytime animators stick so closely together?
We just have like just the same process, like the way we do our videos. It's basically the same, like script writing and stuff, and we kind of like bounce off ideas off each other and things like that, and we get inspired by like other animators and things like that. But I think overall we're just like a really tight knit small community, and we just kind of like find us ourselves. It's like, oh, like this is a new animator in the field. Like let's have her on Discord. And I think Moz was the first person to reach out to me and when I was starting off, because I didn't know what Discord was. That was like alien to me. It was so unknown. I thought it was like a gamer, just like a gamer Skype version thing.
Near enough. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's it's like basically Skype, but for gamers. And I was like, this isn't, I'll just use Skype because Skype is Skype. Everyone knows Skype. Everyone has Skype. And then, Maz reached out to me on Twitter actually, because I thought that, I think Twitter is the way to go to have my presence be known there. That's because that's where Maz found me. And I was like, oh, wow, see that? I was right all along. But then Maz was like, no. Twitter isn't the way of life, child. This Discord is.
And what, like, other than like great community and connections, did that help you as a creator as well, beyond the connection to that creator community, being on that Discord?
Yeah, it really opened a lot of doors because you get like networks and connections, and then you're friends with people that are featured creators, and it's just like, whoa, like I'll give you this golden badge and you can get backstage. And I'm like, wait, really? Like you're giving this to me? Why not give it to this guy? But it's like an honor and just like a privilege. It's like, oh, you're such a good friend. Like, yeah, it's crazy because it helped me really grow my channel and kind of like, it's such a whole new world, like VidCon. Like I went to VidCon Australia last year too. And I like the Instagram lounge. It's quite nice. Yeah.
No, it's good to see a group that are so strong together. I mean, every time we talk to one of the people in the animation group, you can just see the respect they have for each other and how good the friendship and camaraderie is in the group. We don't see that often with a lot of YouTubes. Obviously, YouTube can be a very isolating sort of experience, especially when you work by yourself and create content by yourself. So it's good to have that there. I wish more creators sort of did that, but it seems like the Storytime animators are the best group for that. Mm. Obviously, you said, you started when you met this group of creators when you were, 100 or 200 subs, but obviously you're not, over 500,000, and that's quite big. Do you ever think of yourself as, wow, I'm a big YouTuber now, or do you still think of yourself as, just someone who's struggling, trying to create more content?
It doesn't feel like I'm a big YouTuber because there's always, I was thinking like, 10,000 subscribers is like really big. And then I got to 10,000 and I was like, well, it's not that big because I'm 10,000 subscribers. It's like, well, 100,000 subscribers is big. And I got to 100 and I was like, it's not that big because I don't know. I thought it would be much of a struggle in a way. And I'm quite grateful that I'm where I am right now, but I never really thought of it as like a big thing because the sky is the limit. And, I could say right now, like 1 million subscribers is so big, then eventually I get there. I'm like, well, a lot of people are 1 million subscribers, so it's not really a big feat. How about 10 million subscribers? You're like, yeah.
What's Twitch like for you? I know you do some Twitch stuff.
Oh,
like what's the difference for you between, say, your YouTube content and then Twitch?
Man, Twitch is like a totally different feel, totally different platform to it. With YouTube, I already have this persona as actually I don't know my persona. I just do whatever. But on Twitch, it's like, okay, let's try not to do something weird on the like it's just like it's like I still feel a bit strained, not strained, like nervous whenever I go live stream on Twitch because like I'm exposing myself out there, and on YouTube I don't really expose my face, like I don't really show my face, but on Twitch I'm like showing my face, and then people can just say whatever they want in real time. And they're generally nice. My Twitch viewers are quite nice.
Do you have a platform? Obviously, I guess you'd like YouTube, but is there one that you think, oh man, I really love this one?
Oh, that was like Twitch. When I first started Twitch, I was like, wow, I'm gonna stream every day, and then it got I only stream like once a week, which is like every Friday, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's time to stream. And what am I gonna stream today? And I was like, I don't feel like gaming. I don't feel like drawing. So I guess I'm just gonna talk. And then I would just sit there. I'm like, hi guys. So I'm just gonna talk to myself. And that's it.
It's good. Yeah. People do like it. I think a lot of people misunderstand how important that connection is between the creator and the audience, and like how valuable that is compared to like TV, for example, where the people that don't have that connection. So just talking to the audience can make a huge difference, and it can actually be really it can be great. Ben, it's amazing how the connections you make and the responses you get back.
I agree.
How do you manage doing all these things? Obviously YouTube content as an animator takes a lot of time to create. You got Twitch, you've got everything else you do. Like, how do you manage all that together?
Time management is like quite. I struggle with it and just somehow manage to just put a video out. But I actually want to make a goal to just put a video out like once a month. But now when you look at my channel, it's like, oh, this video was made 2 months ago. This video was made like 4 months ago. It's like an average, like one video per 2 or 3 months. So I'm not I'm not really doing well with the once a month type of video, because whenever I write scripts, it tends to be like really long and just like, oh, I want to include everything. Mm-hmm. Like I want to include, like every story, every detail. I want to tell them like, oh, this guy did this and this guy, I did that. And then I'm like, and at the end, it's just like, oh, it turned into like a 15-minute video.
Does someone pull you back from that, or like, do you edit your own scripts, or do you have someone give you feedback on that? How does that happen? Like, how do you not?
Yeah, I actually do have my friends like look through it and edit it and give me feedback. But then I guess they're just like they just like tell me like, oh, you know, if you want to put it in, you put it in. But I don't think it's necessarily because it's too long. And I'm like, oh, okay. But at the same time, it still amounts to like 10 minutes. But yeah, I try to keep it like 7 to 5 minutes now. So yeah.
What obviously with it being animation being very hard, Ro, what gives you like the energy to keep going and keep making stuff? Is it like the response from the fans? Is it just your personal drive? How do you get enough energy to keep moving?
Wow, I haven't thought of that. I haven't questioned myself that. Why do I keep going? I think it's just like you said, a personal drive, but at the same time, personal drive mixed with having people see my content. It's just like enjoying it. I'm like, wow, people actually enjoy this, and then I should make more. And so it's a personal drive to improve, personal drive to, and it's just like, it's really humbling to see that people enjoy what I put out. And yeah, it's great.
Do you know where Storytime Animation started? Or who started?
Where? I think it was like Swoozie or Domix. Swoozie and Domix are basically the first forefathers of the Storytime animations. And yeah, I actually first started watching Domix when I was like 15 or something. It was like his breakup series, and then it was like really popping off on YouTube. And yeah, ever since then, I was like, I want to be like Domix. Then yeah, that was my inspiration, why I wanted to start on the Storytime animation journey.
Very cool. I think Domix is going to come up a fair bit as we dig into that.
Before we finish, we always do finish with like one thing. Do you have any top tips for aspiring creators out there?
A lot of people come to me and question like, how do I start on my animation channel? And like, I know how to draw, I know how to edit, and I know how to do this and that, but how do I do it? And I'm like, well, you already know how to draw and do things. Like a lot of Storytime animators, I think it all comes down to like just doing it. Like, to be honest, just starting it and taking the first step. But that could just be general.
It's a pretty bloody good tip.
That's a good tip. That is a good tip.
Yeah, because a lot of people seem to be really timid with, I feel like they always seek validation from like big creators and established creators. And then they do come to me and they're like, I'm scared to start. I'm like, well, you have to start because you want to do it. So yeah.
That is a very good tip to finish with. So
hey,
Alex,
I've got one more. Sorry, what? I'm so sorry. Lee did bring this up, and I think it's worth doing. Audio people, I'm sorry you won't get this, but jump on our YouTube channel and you will see this. There's this picture here that that is a self-portrait from my daughter who was 3 at the time. And I reckon that's a pretty good.
That's really good.
I'd like to get your critique on that. You can be as harsh as you like. I'll if she needs to improve, or if you're happy with that.
Oh wait, this is a self-portrait.
It's a self-portrait from a 3-year-old. So
Oh, I thought it was a dragon. I was like, that's a really nice dragon, like with the orange. And I was like, oh, the yellow is like the fire circle. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good art for a 3-year-old to do.
Yeah, she'd be stoked like to be a dragon, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That's so I think when we had Mars on, Fred and I tried to draw our own ourselves as if we were a character in our own Storytime animation, and we failed dismally. Yeah. But I think Billy, my daughter, did a much better job. Like that, I'd watch a cartoon with that in. But I'm biased. Yeah. I wanted an expert's opinion.
It does look a lot like you with that boxy features and those blank, eyes.
Oh, it's a self-portrait of her, not me.
Oh,
wait!
I thought it was you.
This is of her.
Oh,
I thought it was you.
I thought it was you.
No, it's her.
Right.
Self-portrait.
Oh,
right. Well, it looks more like you than your daughter. So there you go.
Yeah. On that note. Thank you.
Yeah, Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Create a generation. Look on the mic.